This is Don't Panic, episode number 395, recorded January 6th, 2025. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the podcast where the three hosts wear plaid shirts. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by two guys who I'm sure enjoyed their last 2 months on vacation, but they're back. It's Colby Rabidou and Dan Miller. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're back.
Good evening. This is my only plaid shirt, so it's an incredible coincidence.
I noticed that. Do you know I like something? You know when you like see something every day and suddenly it's off and it just clicks in your head? Like something about your shirt, I immediately saw it when you got on camera, and I couldn't put why it was like.
It's because you've never seen Dan.
It's because I've never. It was like a whole different Dan I'm looking at here. It's crazy.
Wow, that's wild.
Welcome to the Pacific Northwest.
I was gonna say, isn't plaid a uniform of sorts?
Yeah, but then that makes you kind of less likely to participate.
Sure,
makes me less likely.
Right.
Well, you guys have like real plaid. I have business plaid. I have like wear it to the office. I'm a professional plaid. You guys have like weekender plaid.
Business pladual.
Yeah, you laugh. There is a certain size of plaid. If it's bigger than that, I will not wear it to work. I will only wear it in my personal life. Because for some reason, I like big plaid. But at a certain size, it becomes too casual and not professional.
Wait, are you talking about like shirt size or like plaid density?
Plaid density. Like Dan, your shirt, I would say the plaid is too spread out. Mm-hmm. It's too casual. You got to do a tight plaid.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say that the Pacific Northwest plaid is like so thick that it doesn't even really bend. It's more like a suit of armor than an article of clothing.
Yeah, it's bulletproof.
Yeah. Very uncomfortable, terribly itchy.
But that's the look. You got to have the look. Guys, we're wearing our plaid, which means it's winter. It's January. It's 2025. Quick trivia question for you. Do you guys know how many episodes we did last year? I just happened to notice.
6?
I think we did more than 6. I think we did 17.
That's pretty good, Colby. In a 52-week year, we did 19, which I don't think is terrible, considering we took all of November and December off. So really, in 10 months, we did 19. I just happened to notice that. But guys, obviously a bunch of stuff has happened since we were last on here, including we all got to see each other in person, which was such a delight at what was, first and foremost, apparently a Don't Panic fan event. And then second to that, Colby's wedding.
Yes. I can't believe we didn't propose that we record an episode of the podcast live at the reception. People could bring us up drinks. We could do the live questions. Who needs a band?
Right.
They could have played us in. That would have been great.
Yeah, there you go. Now your job is done. We'll take it from here.
We could have had the theme music
on violin. I don't know if it would have packed the same punch, but it would have been great. I promised Aunt Sandy. I promised Sandra she would get a shout out on the show. She said, you got to shout me out on the show. So I did not forget. Thank you, Aunt Sandy. And to all the aunts, apparently, who are fans of the program. Apparently, there's a whole table of aunts that were just talking about the show and us.
I guess it's not a thankless job. We thought it was, but...
And it was great because they came up to me and they're like, "Are you Sean from the show?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I got like to really one up them, and I go, "And see that guy right there? That's Dan." And they're like, "Dan?" I'm like, "Yeah, believe it."
I'm a real person, not a Facebook AI hallucination bot.
Nope, he exists.
Not yet. Do you think we could just straight up automate the show at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. So. Would it be better or worse?
I don't know. I think it would probably cost a fair bit of money right now, but that would be this. It would be an interesting challenge.
Well, Matt and I joke about setting up our Patreon over on the other show. Maybe that should be our Patreon where we'll raise money to automate the show. Because I think the fans probably would prefer it, let's be honest. We do more than 19 a year, so...
I feel like I'm trying to imagine some situation where we have parallel shows where like we continue doing the show, but we also automate the show, and
then we
that
run
us.
like the HBO style recap podcast that happens after the automated one airs.
Yeah, but the problem with that, see, that's the show I'd want to automate, though, so I don't have to listen to us do the episode. So then we'll automate the recap episode.
See. So we would make our own YouTube with everyone making reaction videos to all the other reaction videos. We would manufacture our own drama. I mean, this is basically election interference at this point.
I think it's worth whatever amount of rainforest will destroy and all the computer processing power to make this happen.
One thing, now that streaming services are really expensive and I can't afford them, one thing I've discovered is that I still enjoy listening to the HBO style recap podcasts, even if I haven't watched the show. And in fact, sometimes it's better because you don't have to spend all that time watching the show, and like you can do other stuff when you're listening to a podcast in a way that you can't when you're watching a TV show. So it's great.
Now, so you've done this.
Oh yeah, no, I do it regularly.
And so, what kinds of TV shows are you doing this for?
I like all kinds, like House of the Dragon season 2. I didn't watch that, but I listened to a recap podcast.
And did you watch season 1?
I did watch season 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But like some of the like people who used to do like a Game of Thrones recap podcast that I listened to at the time, like have a podcast where they kind of just recap like random things. Like it's not just one thing, like they're always recapping things, and I listened to that, and I've never watched any of the shows. It's great. It's how I catch up on all the Marvel stuff that's happening. Pretty up to date.
That does sound nice, actually.
Yeah, you don't need to watch it really. It's you can imagine that it looks like pretty nice. Like very
I've told you that once a year when I get my COVID shot, I catch up on all of the Marvel movies that I've missed. It used to be every 4 years when I would get sick. Now it's once a year. So that sometimes I run out, but it usually takes me multiple tries to get through any given movie. So it works out.
Well, you got 3 new ones in 2025, so I hope that shot's extra powerful. You're going to have a lot to catch up on.
And didn't one come out at the end of last year that I haven't seen? I don't even know what it's called. I think one came out that I haven't seen. Or was that a TV show? I don't know.
Probably one or the other. Your guess is as good as mine. Let's see. Is there anything in particular? Any personal tech stuff or home improvement stuff? I've got a few. Colby and Dan, you've both been traveling a lot. Anything worth sharing here?
If you're ever violently ill and you need to get on a plane, take Imodium.
Oh.
It feels weird, but I didn't like throw up on an airplane. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So, did you consider not getting on the plane?
Yes. Like, seriously. I very seriously considered not getting on the plane. But thank God we did, because, like, the second we got home, Laura started throwing up.
Okay. Yeah,
so, if we had, like, pulled the ripcord and stayed longer, we would have had to continue to stay longer, I think. But we didn't. We got out of there. Made it back.
And smart.
And was this so? My impression from Laura's Instagram story was that this was a schmancy pants resort with people with jetpacks and people singing and everything, and yet you still got the bug.
I think that it was like norovirus or whatever. The day we were flying home, Laura was like, look at this news article that says norovirus is really going around right now. It's like, oh. And then we like read all the symptoms. It was like, oh yeah, this is what's happening to me right now. So it's, it wasn't like I don't think it was like untreated water or anything in particular. It was like you just got sick the old fashioned kind of stomach bug. It's gross.
Well, I hope the rest of your vacation was better.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was sort of, the timing was convenient in that it was the night before we left, which made it like very stressful. But it also meant we didn't really waste any vacation, being indisposed.
Excellent. Well, that's good. Well, congratulations. Good to have you back.
I've returned.
Dan, you got some quality East Coast time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if anything super exciting happened. I did on the way back from Boston. There was the big Amtrak outage. Did you hear about this? And all the trains coming from Washington, D.C. couldn't go past New Jersey. And so I didn't know any of this. So thankfully mine was fine because it originated in Boston and thankfully was already there. But when I got to New Haven, the big train sign board that shows you all the times, like the topmost train is a train that is about to leave or just left. And you know how it says like original time or scheduled departure, estimated departure? The scheduled departure of the top, I'll say I got to New Haven at 4:30 p.m. The scheduled departure time for the topmost train was 10:50 a.m. The estimated departure was 30 minutes from now.
Well, our good friend and fellow wedding compatriot Phil, he, I don't know, 6-8 hours. He didn't get home to New Jersey from Boston until 4 a.m.
I forgot that he took the train.
Yeah, he was very stuck. I felt very bad. Poor guy.
Yep, that was brutal.
Jeez. Otherwise, yeah. I learned that. So this time I tried to learn from my mistakes. I flew Alaska not out of Newark because Newark is the worst airport of the three. But to be honest, JFK Terminal 7, not that much better. It is spacious. So it has that. Honestly, it is better because it has space. And the bathrooms aren't just trailers. They backed up to the terminal, which is literally what Newark is like. But it had absolutely nothing inside. They had an amazing duty-free area. If you wanted to buy liquor, you could get so much liquor and so much crappy American candy. That was it. And then you had like, I don't even think they had like McDonald's or anything like that. It was, like off-brand fast food and then one super expensive restaurant that was crap. So I might try Boston actually, Colby. This is my new idea. Fly into Boston and then drive or take the train to Connecticut. That might be better.
You don't want to fly into beautiful Bradley International Airport there?
I can, but not direct.
New Haven can't accommodate you?
You can. I actually looked into this. You can fly from New Haven to Seattle, and I want to say that you lay over in Alaska or something insane like that. Like, awesome. Why is there even a flight from New Haven to this place?
That is awesome. Well, they're doing that now. All these low-cost airlines are flying now these weird routes from, like, New Haven has a bunch of new airlines flying out of there. Worcester has a bunch of weird airlines flying out of these ultra-small airports. So you never know.
Someday I'll probably try that, but...
Boston's good. Boston, to me, obviously I'm an hour and a half driving from Boston versus 30 minutes for Bradley, but the thing is, it's just an awful place to get in and out of by car. I've never done it by train. Logan Express sucks, especially after a long flight. It's an annoying experience, and parking is bad, and so if there were a good train that actually ran across the state at regular times, I actually probably would do that. But I can't beat an airport 30 minutes away, even if it means layovers and all that sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I am highly biased against the transfers, and this is turning into our airline hard.
Again?
Because I calculated this a while ago, and now it's been so long since I flew a non-direct route that I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was well over half of flights that I took that had a transfer. My luggage was lost on those flights. Flights that I have taken direct, never. Well, that's not true. Once or twice, my luggage still has somehow gotten lost. That's the thing that stops me. And the problem with going home this time was that I had a bunch of shit with me because I was there for a long time. But in the future, if I only have the carry-on, maybe I'll do the transfer. Maybe it'd be fine.
See, I've only had my luggage lost like twice in my entire life. And like once was when I was a child, and it was like all our family's luggage.
I've never, fortunately.
Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe it's just coming for me. I've led a very charmed life so far.
Well, Dan lays over in like Tijuana, and who knows where he's going. I wouldn't necessarily trust it.
One was Dayton, Ohio. One was Auckland, New Zealand.
Okay.
And those are the ones I can remember. The both times they did eventually get us the luggage. Actually, New Zealand was way faster to get me my luggage than Dayton, Ohio was.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had an airport in Dayton, Ohio, so it's all new to me.
Well, this is a whole other story. We flew during an airline strike with the Boy Scouts, so we drove from, like, our flight out of Bradley was canceled, and then we like took the train into New York to try to get one there, but then on the way it was canceled. So then we got to Grand Central, we turned around, we took another train back, slept at someone's house, and then we drove. Did we drive to Dayton? We drove somewhere really far away, and then we took a flight that transferred to another airport, which got us eventually to Indianapolis without our luggage. It was a weird day.
Seriously.
Well, thankfully we're on a break from traveling for a little while at least.
Yeah.
For now, anyway.
Me for 2 weeks. I'm once again just leaving my luggage open on the floor in the bedroom, waiting to have something else stuck back in it.
Stay home, Dan.
I will. February, we're not going anywhere.
Amazing.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be a nice month.
But yeah, otherwise, I don't think I have any.
I did spend the holiday break upgrading my networking equipment.
Ooh, again.
Well, so here's the thing. I feel like an idiot. The internet in my house had been like very slow. So I initially paid for like 500 megabits, and Comcast was like, for the same price you now have 750, and now for the same price you have a gig. So I was supposed to have a gig, but I was getting like maybe 100. So there was a big gap. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And then they email me, Xfinity, totally out of the blue. And they're like, by the way, do you know your modem is not compatible with our network? And I'm like, first of all, I bought it because it was on your list of compatible routers. I didn't just pick one randomly. Modems. And so I'm like, good to know. So I went on their list of recommended, bought a new one. But then I realized the mesh network I had was capped at 200 megabits, which I didn't realize when I bought it. And so I got a new mesh network. Putting all that in, I am now getting my gig of speed. Practically, it's like 600-700 by the time all my stuff is running, but it's much faster and much more reliable. So annoying, but a worthy upgrade.
Exciting.
You look very crisp.
Thank you. Well, it's funny because I was doing the show with Matt the other night, and the connection was terrible, and I'm like, oh, good, I'll fix it. It's like, no, Matt's computer's a piece of crap. Of course, I'm not the problem. It's like I said, I have like 40 Wi-Fi devices on my network, and so like I said, I get a gig coming out of the coaxial into the modem. By the time it actually gets to my computer, it's like 600, not because of usage and congestion. So I needed the upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's why there's a giant Ethernet cable that runs from my living room to my bedroom where my office is.
Yeah. Yep, that is smart. Because yeah, sometimes you need it. You can do that in your place.
Yeah, it's true. I only had to get like a 40-foot Ethernet cable.
A standard length cord to run the length of your place.
It's like kind of long, but
love it.
Nice. I got a new Mac Mini this weekend because my old one died, pooped out. This was a while ago. My old Mac Mini from like 2013, I think, that I remember I opened up and put like an SSD in at a time when like computers didn't come with SSDs. It crapped out last year, and the new ones are so cheap, so I just got one. It was
nice.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do anything exciting with it?
Well, I mean, the old one really just had some like backup like file host serving stuff on it. So that's what's on it right now. I don't know if I'm going to do anything else. Probably at some point. It's just sitting there.
I did. You guys will appreciate this. So I don't know if you remember Matt's very short-lived podcast he did with different people that he had for 5 minutes a year ago.
No.
It's back.
There was only one. I saw that and I was like, what the fuck is this podcast?
Yeah, it showed up in your feed, right? You forgot you had subscribed. Yeah, it's called Tomorrow is Canceled. I'm technically the producer, and I'm not on it, but I do let them use my Riverside, and I post it for them. And it's him and his old high school buddies. They talk video games. Anyway, they're back.
I do remember this now.
And they taped the show last night. I was listening in. Anyway, I had a good business idea. We do good business ideas on the show. I want to run this by you, a couple of powerful, smart developers. Are you familiar with Goodreads?
Yes.
The website that tracks your book readings. There's Untapped, right? It's the app that tracks your beer drinking. Sure. Why isn't there an app that tracks your video games?
Well, I have an answer, kind of. Is that this does exist. There's 3 apps. One is called PlayStation, the other one's called Xbox, and the third one is called Steam, and I guess Nintendo. And you can go on and you can see like you get these like feeds of what your friends are playing and what like trophies they got and who's playing what games with who. And I don't think people necessarily care because what they want to know is who can I play Call of Duty with right now. That's my guess. Although maybe there is a market of people who are more interested in like, oh, Dan started playing Baldur's Gate 2 last month. Maybe not that many people care about that, and it's not going to show up on my trophies list or whatever. Although it would if you're friends with me on Steam. So again.
Maybe the killer feature for this though is for like obscure games, like text adventure games from the archive.
the indie games.
Don't talk to me about text-based adventure games. I'm still traumatized. No, I think it's that, but it's also partly for archiving and for reviewing in the same way Goodreads is. So you can look back. I think the beer one is a better parallel where it's like most beer drinkers don't care. But for the handful of enthusiasts where you want to track all the stuff you've done, I don't know. Yeah. I was just surprised that nobody had.
And what's the movie version of this?
Letterboxd.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
It's not the worst idea I've ever heard. That's for sure.
I'll take that as a home run. Not the worst idea I've ever heard.
Crushed it.
That could be the name of my memoir. Excellent. All right. Well, I feel vindicated. So this is great, and people should definitely.
Now, here's a don't panic challenge. Sean, you could try to build this app yourself using an AI tool, and see how far you get.
Well, that's totally fair. Here's the problem: is even if I build the app, I don't know what to do with it. That's what scares me. Like seriously, like I've thought, like I'm sure there's tutorials you can do on how to, but I'm like. I get you make the code of the app, but then like where does it live, and like it's got to like plug into other stuff, and there's like a database, and then how's there like people log in and stuff, and you got to build that part, and there's like it just feels like if it was just like, oh yeah, you build the little app and you're like, that's great, but it feels more intimidating. Am I overthinking it?
Yes and no, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of times I don't know, and I'm sure there's like a psychological aspect to this too, where you sit down and you're going to do something, and you're like, I want a thing that does this, and like, yeah. In order for it to do that, you have to be able to log into it, and you got to be able to like save people's stuff, and if you're saving people's stuff, I guess you got to have backups. But like, all I want to do is make an app that does this, and then you have achieved that, and then it feels like the rest of the stuff is like harder in air quotes. But I don't know if it necessarily is. I just think it feels bad because it's not directly the thing that you intended to do, even though if you think about it, it's not that useful without those things.
Right. I thought that's what I had YouTube. Why am I friends with you guys if I have to do the coding?
I'm just trying to make show content. That's all I'm trying to do.
Actually, you would be better off, Dan, taking a marketing idea and having AI do it.
Well, there we go. We could do job swap where we teach AIs to do each other's jobs.
You'd win that slam dunk. AI's better at marketing than I am.
I don't know. It's pretty. It's not that good at coming up with interesting, novel things. It would be good at coming up with an ad that looks like everything else, or something like that.
Well, I get a little nauseous every time I see that weird Coca-Cola AI commercial they've been running everywhere. So I don't know if you've seen that. I haven't
seen it, no.
No, Coca-Cola, they've done the Santa Claus and the polar bears and around Christmas every year, and they do these very nice kind of animated ads. And this year, for some reason, they're like, we're just going to AI generate the whole thing. I guess that's the fad. And it looks like it's AI generated, and it's weird. And it's not like bad weird, it's just unnecessarily weird.
What?
Yeah.
Coke. I'm Googling it too.
Yeah, see if you can track it down. It's been running like all holidays. Yeah, the Holiday Magic Coca-Cola.
Oh.
And it looks like AI where like stuff just doesn't quite feel right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that dog, what the fuck? That dog was not real.
But mind you, this was a national, constantly run on every channel advertisement. This was not a one-off. This was like their ad for Christmas.
Was it just like they just needed to save whatever, like, $50 million they usually spend on this ad, and they were like, like, what if?
They just want to be trendy? I'm not sure.
It really is like the further you get into it, the further it's like
it feels bad.
Yeah. You can't I couldn't tell you what feels bad about it. It's just like the perspective or something is like just slightly fucked up.
Well, there was I wish I had saved it. There was a beautiful sort of philosophical, I don't know if it was a tweet or a post or something somebody had written, but they said, the reason you can tell AI is wrong without being able to put your finger on it is because you have a soul. And really, but it was written in a much like classier way than that. But it was a nice think piece where it's like, that's why, that's the art, the soul in the art is something you can feel, and AI will never be able to replicate that. And I said, I that resonates with me.
Yeah. Laura told me, has talked about this. There's like some video where there's like, they built a robot that plays the violin, and it plays the violin like technically perfect. Right? Like it has perfect technique. It's doing it exactly correct. And it sounds terrible because it's like not, like that. It's not, it has no, there's nothing to it.
So if Laura plays something and you say it was perfect, does she feel insulted when you say that?
Deeply.
You're like, no, you were actually terrible.
Well, this is the Laura would know this, and maybe I've already talked to her about it, that pianos are tuned slightly off the mathematical perfection, and so you can't actually use a piano to tune some notes because it'll be slightly wrong. But if the piano was perfect, it would sound terrible. Like if you played notes at the same time, it would be awful. There's all sorts of examples of this. Like perfection is right. So I would argue, is that a robot playing it perfectly? Then I would argue no. Just as the perfect piano is a terrible piano, and therefore it's not the perfect piano.
Well, speaking of stupid, unnecessary technology, we have got an actual rundown. It's been the last rundown in the sheet was last CES. We've got a great rundown here. It's the Consumer Electronics Show right now. By the way, I did not miss doing research for the show.
That's insane that the last rundown was exactly a year ago.
Well, that's how I knew. That's how I did the episode math. I looked because I did that. I'm like, oh, what's the math? Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. They are showing off the latest and greatest in wackadoo technology, and I've filled our spreadsheet here. The show's actually happening. I think the NVIDIA announcements are happening right now. Sony just did theirs. It's happening as we speak, but a bunch of stuff has already been announced. I filled a bunch of rows here in our spreadsheet. Guys, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at these. Any of them stand out to you as worth discussing? I do want to start with this. Maybe give you a chance to look through. Any longtime listeners of the show know the saga of the Samsung Bally. We first talked about it 5 years ago when it was introduced at CES in 2020. It's gone through a few changes over the time. Last year, it was sort of reintroduced. Well, the news this year, it's still the same, but you may actually be able to buy it. Now, of course, they didn't say when in 2025. They said in 2020, the first half of 2025. Still no word on the pricing, but it's theoretically closer. There's some pictures here. Let me do a little bit of screen share for the video watchers. There's some images here of it at work in their little demo, which is, I think, the first time we've actually seen it doing something. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on Bally 5 years later.
It just projects things on
like
things?
A moving projector.
Basically, it's got AI in it, so you can ask it questions.
It's like the AI pin, but even more expensive.
Yes, and you can trip over it.
Yeah.
Is it bouncy? Like, can you play soccer with it?
Well, you can once, and then it doesn't work anymore. They had a demo where they had a guy hold up 2 bottles of wine towards the Bally camera and say which one of these pairs better with steak or whatever, and it used its camera and AI to tell him an answer. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not excited about this one. There is a robot on here that I am excited about,
but it's not Bally. You're over it.
It's not Bally. No.
That is very fair. I also think it is lame and not particularly useful, and probably very expensive. But that's your yearly update. I'm sure next year we'll talk about it being available in 26. So that saga is definitely not over. What is next on the list, gentlemen?
The robot I am excited about is a laundry one.
Is the which one? There's a couple of them.
Let me find it. There are a couple of them?
Well, there's the robot vacuum with the robot arm. And then there's...
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, that's the Roborock Soros Z70. It has a robotic arm attached to it, attached to a traditional robot vacuum. Let's see here. It's their flagship bot. It is a first of its kind, mass-produced, foldable robotic arm with 5 axes. It's called the OmniGrip. It can unfold, extend, and twist horizontally and vertically to pick up items and move them out of the way. It includes a camera and LED light in the arm to see objects and has sensors to detect the object's weight and know its positioning. They have programmed in 109 different objects for it to identify and pick up. And it says they will continue to add more with over-the-air updates over time. It uses a combination of 3D time-of-flight sensors, RGB cameras, machine learning, all sorts of things, so it doesn't just run over your stuff, but picks it up instead.
So I'm not excited about this in and of itself, but I am excited that people are finally branching out literally into like using robots to do stupid tasks. Like this feels achievable. It feels like I should be able to get a robot that is a giant dump truck with an arm on the front, and I want it to go around and like photo, like on the Photos app when it's like, oh, this is Colby, this is your cat. You'll like learn stuff in my house, and I'll tell it like
a sock.
This is a sock. Socks. Put socks in your dump truck and dump them over here. Like that would be useful.
Well, that is part of this where you can program it to put certain items in certain pre-programmed places. So if it identifies it as, say, a sock, you can identify your sock corner and it will pick it up and put it there. I mean, I think, honestly, to me, the single biggest issue I have with robot vacuums is the fact that there's crap on my floor it hits. Otherwise, they work perfectly. So this could actually...
Synergy, yeah.
The big thing's cables, and I don't know how it would do with that, but I agree with you, Dan. I don't think this has to be like a Rosie the Robot, like full articulated human being. Like, just put like a little arm on it. I think that's really, really exciting.
And then the next thing is they need to be able to navigate stairs.
Well,
then you can only buy one.
I didn't make the list because I didn't think it was that interesting. But they did, and I'm going to see if I can quickly find it. They did make a vacuum robot with little legs that can go up and down the stairs.
Now, I'm really curious what it looks like.
All right,
Does it then like squat down and become like a regular vacuum robot, like a kneeling bus?
I just threw it in the Riverside chat. It's from Dreamy. It's the X50 Ultra Robot. It uses a system called ProLeap. Which is a motorized swing arm that enables step navigation up to 6 centimeters in height.
Oh, hell now, yeah. This is like a BattleBots thing.
It's not a very tall stair. This is not like standard multi-floor stairs, but for dips and things like that, it can go over the edge.
Why do you think like all robot vacuums are the same shape? Like why
well, you want to pitch a new shape?
Well, I don't know. It's just funny. Like you look at them all, it's like, oh, it's a Roomba. It's like, oh no, it's some weird brand.
Well, I think Colby should come out with a triangular robot vacuum.
Maybe circles are just practical because they don't get stuck on stuff. It's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah, that's the next thing of innovation.
Yeah. What is this robot vacuum hegemony?
Well, robot vacuums were really a hot thing at CES this year. There was one other in our rundown, the SwitchBot, the multitasking household robot K20 Plus Pro, which is the actual name of it. It's
circular.
It's a version of their mini vacuum that attaches to a new platform, a circular device on wheels that fits over the robot. And basically, it drags a platform around, and you can attach all sorts of things to the platform, like an air purifier, a camera, a fan, a tablet on a stick, or even multiple items. And the idea is that you can program it to, like, once a day, drag the air purifier around the house, or, with the camera on it, do a pass every hour.
How does it charge?
It goes back. It has a charging thing. That it goes back to. It has to have a
pretty big battery to support these appliances, I would guess, but maybe not.
I don't know if it says what it's...
That would be my question.
Yeah, it doesn't specifically say how long it lasts, or how often it has to charge. That's a fair question. So far, they haven't really, I don't think, put anything super, super heavy on it. They say it has a maximum capacity of under 18 pounds. So theoretically, you could plug anything into it if it has USB-C power, but their specific accessories latch onto it. The bummer for me is I want it to be able to automatically switch what's on it, which I don't even know how you would do that. You have to manually switch it. But I think the idea of like a base platform where you can just like put other machines on it and it goes around your house is neat.
It's sort of interesting. Cooling? It can do several things, including air purifying, cooling, vacuuming, and home monitoring.
I think that just means a fan.
Yeah, it's just a fan.
Oh, I thought it was like some sort of air conditioner.
No.
And they're teasing a mechanical arm at some point in future development, but yeah, no word on price or availability. No surprise from CES, but to me, that's an interesting concept, is doing it modularly. Now, we did get a comment on the Facebook live stream from my and your personal friend, Phil Lopez, who said, "When can I have this robot?" and attached a picture of Robin Williams in the film Bicentennial Man. And the answer, Phil, is at the Bicentennial, of course. Thanks for watching.
Put yourself in VR and have it create the Robin Williams character in VR.
the Bicentennial Man VR experience.
Yeah.
That may be the worst selling video game of all time. That can't possibly be real. Let's see what else is on our list here. We got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about this LG microwave. I gotta see if I can find a better picture. I attached the press release because I couldn't find a better write-up than that.
Is it the microwave with the screen?
Yes, that is just a giant screen. Oh, okay.
So I had a link to this.
Oh, did you see it?
In my notes here. I think I found the actual Verge article.
Yeah, here. I'm going to share a video of it in action from YouTube. Where it's a microwave from LG, part of their signature collection, but the entire front display is a giant touchscreen, 27 inches across. You can program the microwave on it, as well as look up recipes and do all sorts of things. The microwave also has 3 cameras inside of it, so you can watch your food being cooked, you can record it, you can watch it remotely, you can do time lapses of your food being cooked. Great if you're one of those
downward facing cameras like a elementary school teacher.
Well, yeah, if you're like a cooking influencer, can it stream directly to Twitch? I'm not sure, but I think this would be very handy for that. But I just thought this was absolutely wild. LG, because they have an equally big size screen in their fridge.
And that's bigger than a normal microwave?
I would say yes. The other thing is it seems lower than a normal microwave.
Yes, that is a good point.
And I feel like you'd be reaching up a lot more. I feel like that's not... Like a fridge I kind of get, because it's at, kind of a normal body height. An over-the-range microwave seems like an awfully tall place for a giant touchscreen.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe it's like... Maybe you can mount it lower than a normal one because you can look at your hands through the camera. You don't need to look at your hands.
You mount it so low you can't see your own hands, so you have to use the camera. I'm sure that's not a fire hazard at all. Oh man, that is absolutely brutal. Capturing, they like I said, I attached the press release. And of course, they use some of that great language. It enhances the culinary experience with their versatile cooking capabilities. The microwave is equipped with 3 built-in cameras, capturing meals' journeys from the oven to the table. Powered by gourmet AI technology, identifies ingredients and helps provide recipe suggestions.
Let's talk gardening.
Let's talk gardening. By the way, I didn't get a chance to mention this on the show. I'll have to report back on how it works. For Christmas, I got my mother a bird's nest with smart cameras in it.
Oh, did you get her the bird buddy?
It's not the bird buddy. That's kind of I went with bird. Is it Bird Fee? Bird FY, which is Bird Buddy's competitor. But it's a full-on wooden nest with 2 cameras, one out by the kind of entryway and one inside looking at the nest. And I'm super, super excited to get it out this spring and try it out.
Very creepy.
But I will tell you a very quick funny story, which is I had kept it a secret. I had wrapped it, and my mother said, "I think I know what you got me." I said, "How do you know?" She goes, "I think I know." So I said, "So tell me before she opened it, what do you think I got you?" And she goes, "I think you got me a smart bird feeder." And I'm like, "How'd you know?" And in classic modern technology, I had Googled a bunch of different ones trying to figure out what to buy her. We live in the same house, so she started getting served Facebook ads like crazy for all of these bird feeders. And then she put two and two together and realized that it was because I was searching it. And it totally busted the surprise a little bit. So,
oh, interesting. So I can use this to incept Lena into wanting to get something.
well, I have read stories online before, like women who want their boyfriends to propose, like will start searching for rings and stuff, and it'll come up in their feed. So it might be a fun experiment for you to try. Like, pick something totally crazy she'd never get an ad for, and then see if you can search it and click on it enough to influence it. That's a good don't panic challenge.
Report
back. But these outdoor smart cameras, I actually think are pretty darn cool. Whether it's a feeder or a birdhouse, Bird Buddy, who is big in this space, has a new camera called the pedal camera. It's designed to look at the flowers and insects in your garden. It's a 4K 12 megapixel camera with an AI system to help identify plants and insects. You can also interact with an AI chatbot that will tell you helpful information about your garden and how it's doing and how it can help. You can view a live stream or see recordings. They also came out with some various other pottings and nests. I also, again, there were a lot of announcements that didn't make it, but there was also a new, from another company, a bird bath with a camera. With running water that points at the bird bath itself. And I honestly think this kind of stuff, AI, I, of course, am obviously very skeptical about. But the idea of it being able to monitor and get in touch with nature through technology and it being able to identify animals and plants and that kind of stuff, I actually think is not stupid. I don't know. Dan looks skeptical.
No. My friend has the, I don't know if it's the Bird Buddy, has something similar. It's fun. It's good, harmless fun, modulo the consumerism. But we had a, I don't remember if did I talk about us trying to find the rabbit last year in the garden or whatever it was, and we had the wildlife camera? Well, someone stole the wildlife camera, I think.
Did you capture that on the camera? Oh, wait.
Right, exactly. I'm sure it did. So that's a problem with these things.
That is very funny. I mean, not funny your camera got stolen, but it is kind of funny. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious about, obviously, pricing and availability not announced, but could be a fun one to plunk out and check out.
I do like the bug counting. I think that's I wonder how, like, in the picture it says it shows, like, I saw 27 ladybugs, 39 bees, and 8 butterflies. Does it count all kinds of bugs? I have a lot of questions, but it sounds kind of cool.
Wait,
I mean, this would be the kind of thing I would think.
The Bird Buddy?
Yeah, the pedal. Yeah, in the
screen.
screenshot here, it's talking to you and saying, the camera's saying, "Oh, I caught this."
Oh.
Actually, I think it's the plant, because the plant says came by to check if I already have seeds. They were disappointed. So I think it's your plant talking to you.
Yeah, that is helpful though, because when you're gardening, you want to know what kind of bugs you're visiting.
Yep.
Now
I think, to be honest with you, I think if you're a kid, this would be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And get you outside into nature while still incorporating some technology. I think this would be a hoot. Neat. Well, something to look forward to. We will see. They say it will be available on Kickstarter in the spring of this year. So you can check that out there.
Nice.
Let's see. What else on the list, gentlemen?
Did we talk about the lamp? The LG lamp?
We didn't. We'll stay right in the plant space. LG has a new lamp But it's not just any lamp. It's a lamp that serves as an adjustable grow light for up to 20 plants beneath it. It's got 2 different lighting modes: downward facing lighting during the day to help grow your plants, and upward facing at night to brighten the home. It comes equipped with a 1.5-gallon water tank and automatically dispenses the right amount of water and nutrients for the number and variety of plants being grown. There's a tall version and also a shorter side table version. The devices are compatible with LG's, I always call it the Thin Q app. It's Think, but I just read it as Thin Q. Letting you adjust light settings and manage the cultivation schedules when you're not home. No details on cost or when it will ship.
I think I've always said Thin Q as well.
Because I have LG air conditioners, so I use the app all summer, and every time I see it, it's Thin Q.
Thin Q.
These are cute.
Yeah, so we have like one of those Aero Garden things, which is, it does the thing. It's great. But it is really like, yes, the light from the Aero Garden is super intense, and pretty unpleasant to be around in an apartment our size. It presents a challenge because you have to find a place to put the Aero Garden where the light is not shining directly into your eyeballs. But I'm curious about this. I'm curious to know if it is less unpleasant to be around as a human, and still pleasant enough for the plants. I think it's cool. I would consider getting one of those. I have a pretty busted lamp in the living room. The problem is the light still works fine, but the lamp itself is broken. So like the lampshade is, like a little off kilter. So maybe this is the answer to my questions.
Well, my thing is, I like the side table one, but my cat would get into it and destroy it. So that is a problem right there. But also, this is very high on my list of things I don't think they'll ever actually release.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but this just seems like too pie-in-the-sky design-y to ever be an actual product. But maybe I'm wrong. I would like to be wrong. Let's see, guys. We got time for one more if there's anything here that we didn't get to already.
Did you see I don't think this one is in here, but did you see the smart lock that is the entire door handle for the front doors?
Yes, the $700 one.
Yes. That I don't, and it had like all these buttons. I didn't get a chance to read the article.
Well, I'm going to see if I can very quickly find it. Again, smart door locks were also a huge thing at CES this year. Every company had an announcement. The only one that made it onto my list was Tapo, is coming out with the first palm scanning front door keypad. Roughly 4 to 10 inches away with your palm. It uses AI to assess the vein patterns and let you in. They also say it's a battery that'll last a full year on a charge. So no price or release date on that.
Here, I found it. I will put it.
It's the Lockley Styla, an all-in-one smart deadbolt lock and doorbell. It's a tall cylindrical handle. But what's interesting about it is it is...
it's a designer handlebar, Sean.
Yeah. That's probably why it's so expensive. But it also has
look that good.
No, it looks really ugly, actually. I would go so far as to say it looks bad. Built into the handle, a 3D fingerprint sensor, a vertical pin keypad, an RFID reader, and a traditional 12-pin slot for 2 physical keys. And yeah, it's just all kind of built into one.
Now, and did you see the lock that has no keyhole? It's only whatchamacallit? Your NFC or whatever. It's only NFC powered.
Yeah, that was Schlange's new smart lock, the Sense Pro. And what's interesting about that is it's not only it's their first to support Matter, but it's also the first ever lock to use ultra wideband technology for hands-free unlocking, which means that you can keep your phone in your pocket and it will unlock connecting directly. And it also has NFC tap to unlock included as well. They say ultra wideband and the paired device calculates speed, trajectory, and motion, ensuring seamless, intuitive entry that understands intent to enter and unlocks precisely as the user reaches the door. Which is cool.
Intent to enter.
You can't just stand there. You got to actually be like thrusting towards the door. You got to thrust. That seems like something that would definitely happen to me, where I'm standing outside, like trying to get it to a lock, and I'm like, I'm thrusting, like
Right.
gestating towards the door over and over.
It's like raising your Apple Watch and getting the screen to turn on. It's like,
yes,
it works a lot of the time.
But the one time you got your hands full of stuff, it's like, I'm intending to come in. Yeah. Yeah, it looks really nice. I will say that looks nice, but that's also because it's just a flat piece of, and there's literally nothing going on. Yeah, I was going to say no price or date on that as well. So nothing really too zany this year, to be honest. They don't really do the crazy stuff as much anymore. Not like they used to.
Not in this economy.
Some good stuff. We may eventually see some of it. Maybe others not so much. But I do think we are just about out of time, unless you guys have anything else here.
No. Next time, I do something I would like to ask for next time is
please
easiest way to measure and graph temperature using a smart home device.
I've done it.
Okay.
I'm excited to talk about it
next week.
Ooh, I would like to hear about this.
Yep.
We call that a tease.
I've spent a weird amount of time actually doing that, and I'll tell you why. But that's great. I love it. That's a great topic for next week, guys. And a perfect tease why you should subscribe. Wherever you get podcasts, it's Don't Panic. You can't miss it. Just search for it. Also on YouTube, full video, all the screen share and video we talked about will be up there along with our gorgeous faces. Of course, you can get a hold of us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. And I have to tease Up for Debate, the podcast I do with Matt. It's a lot of fun. We are still just going to wrap up this week our Rankin Bass Christmas specials. Guys, we just published an episode. Santa Claus is coming to town, and I am not joking. We've done hundreds of hours of podcasting together. This may be the most animated I've ever been in an episode of a podcast. I had aggressively strong annoyances and concerns with that children's film. It was a ton of fun. It is a really great episode. I recommend everyone check that out. And coming up, so you guys know, before this show, I was writing up the announcement note email to the Movie League about the 2025 league, and big changes in store. Big changes. I am blowing it up. New rules, new stakes, and I am officially.
Stakes have never been higher.
Oh, I should read a little bit of the email I wrote, because I did the game has been. I said, I literally say, think you know how to play this game? Think again. I'm calling it the Up for Debate Movie League : supersized. It's going to be awesome. We're hopefully going to draft in February. So a lot going on Up for Debate. Check it out wherever you get podcasts with a video version on YouTube. You don't want to miss that. But we're going to wrap it up here. We appreciate you guys coming back with us. We got a great 2025 ahead. So many wonderful things. On behalf of Dan and Colby, I'm Sean. We appreciate it. We're going to see you next time for a home improvement themed episode of Up for Debate. No, not Up for Debate. This is Don't Panic. Oh my God. Monday.
That's how long it's been since we've done
canceled.
one.
What?
We had tomorrow is canceled. This is